Hi, I'm Lauren,
And I'm Libby.
and this is Crash Course Joylight Club, and today we'll be talking about the Moon Movie. We enter with Ying Ying looking at her daughter, who she now sees as a sad reflection of herself during her own childhood, unseen and unheard. She shows noticeable regret about her submissive nature and how it developed and influenced her daughter. She flashes back to 1918 when she was 4 years old and attended the Moon Festival in Wuxi.
Hey man, slow down. What the heck is the Moon Festival anyways?
Good question. The Moon Festival is a mid-autumn festival that the Chinese celebrate on the 15th of August. It happens during the full moon to celebrate the harvest and the Moon Lady. It is also the main setting for this chapter. Now, back to the story.
Okay, so 4-year-old Ying Ying wakes up to a burning smell that her Amma reassures her is only the burning of the 5 evils, which is symbolic to destroying things that can harm a child. Amma continues on to tell Ying Ying to put on her special tiger clothes, which she can only wear now that she's old enough. I mean, come on, guys, she's like 4. But anyways, let's ignore the same deal. Moving on.
The special clothes that Ying Ying wears are made by her mother and have
black bands on the sleeves with the tiny embroidered peonies growing from curlicues of gold thread.
After all of her relatives have arrived, Amma tells her that the Moon Lady can grant her a secret wish, but she can't tell anyone because then it would become a selfish desire. Ying Ying, again, being only 4, obviously doesn't understand, but she just rolls with it.
Okay, later on in the day, Ying Ying's mom gives her mooncakes, which will leave the grown-ups alone and go play with her half-sisters, number 2 and number 3.
What kind of name are those?
Obviously, that's just a nickname for the 2 little sisters that she seems to resent because Baba had kids with concubines, which is a common practice during that time.
After this, we see the first glimpse at her mother's character when she's scolding Ying Ying for running after the dragonflies. She says,
"A boy can run and chase dragonflies because that is his nature, but a girl should stand still. If you are still a very long time, a dragonfly will no longer see you. Then it will come to you and hide in the comfort of your shadow."
This shows how not only children but women were expected to be less direct in their methods and always appear proper. In this quote, we also see the motif of shadows, which is represented by a darker alter ego.
So anyways, her family is gathered to head off to the rickshaws to go to Tai Lake when she wriggles away from her Amma's gas to go to her mother's rickshaw.
Here's where we really start to learn more about Amma's character and Ying Ying's life. Amma's husband died, so she gave up her child and went to go live with Ying Ying's family as a caretaker. Even though in the books Amma showed to be a nursemaid, Amma really regards Ying Ying as her own child.
Ying Ying's family arrives at the lake, and they get on what Ying Ying calls a floating tea house, but it's really a boat. Ying Ying runs to their boat with her half-sisters, number 2 and number 3.
The festivities start midway almost immediately, and everyone goes to sleep during the hottest part of the day. But of course, Ying Ying wanders off because what else would any bored 4-year-old child do?
She manages to get herself into trouble, becoming fascinated with a bird catching fish and a woman slaughtering sea life. Before she knows it, she's covered in blood and guts and feathers and mud.
So, like any rational person, she decides to smear turtle blood all over her clothes to cover the other blood. Yeah, not smart. And then Amma finds her covered in blood and of course starts searching for missing body parts.
Amma yells at Ying Ying, telling her that her mother is going to abandon her, which obviously leaves this 4-year-old child crying on the ground. Then she stares at the sky, which is now darkened, which brings us to our motif of light and dark.
The dark sky represents her distraught mood from her previous misfortune. Suddenly, fireworks explode and she falls into the water of the Tai Lake. She doesn't even realize she's in the water until she begins to choke. Something wraps around her body, and of course she assumes it's one of the 5 evils, which is a swimming snake, which we mentioned earlier, when in reality, some fishermen have caught her. The fishermen tease her, but eventually realize she needs to be returned to her actual boat. When Ying Ying points out the boat to the fishermen, they bring her over there, but it's not her boat. This puts Ying Ying in a state of distress, and she thinks she's lost forever. The fishermen then just kind of dump her on the side of the shore, hoping that her family will eventually find her.
This is where the light part of the motif comes back in. She describes the bright moon occurring from behind her when suddenly pops out our newest character, the Moon Lady.
The Moon Lady is actually married to the man that lives on the sun, and they only meet once a year during the Moon Festival. This man is called the Master Archer. Humility is obviously not his strongest trait.
When the Moon Lady finally meets her husband, 10 suns appear in the sky, because why not? This is apparently horrific, as the Master Archer goes and shoots down 9 of them, and then they burst open with blood.
Then a fairy appears, the Queen Mother of the Western Skies, and with her she brings a box containing a magic peach that gives you everlasting life and gives it to the Master Archer. Then he wants to prove he's worthy of living forever, so he vows to fast for a year, because that's what makes you worthy.
Obviously, the Moon Lady wants this everlasting life, and she steals it from her husband when she sees where he's hidden it. She starts flying into the sky because that's totally logical when your husband's an archer, so he just shoots her with an arrow. And when she's up there and regrets her actions, she says,
For woman is yin, the darkness within where untempered passions lie, and man is yang, bright truth lighting our minds.
This is another example of the dark and light motifs shown in a negative aspect as the view of the women of China in this time, and how men were regarded as saviors.
Finally, the show is ended, and a man tells the audience that the Moon Lady will grant one secret wish for everyone, and because there's nothing that's free, of course, you have to give a small money donation.
Ying runs to the stage, eager to tell her wish, but of course the man pays no attention to her and just walks off the stage. She goes looking for the Moon Lady backstage and finds out, plot twist, the Moon Lady's a guy. Obviously, 4-year-old Ying didn't realize that this is only a show, and those people were only actors.
This ends the narrative that the elderly Ying St. Clair is giving about her past. She tells that after her family found her, she was never actually the same innocent girl again. She says now that she is older, she's started feeling closer to the beginning of her life. She uses this whole backstory as a way to show how one event can make you lose yourself. And suddenly, she remembers what she asked the Moon Lady as a child. To be found. Deep, right?
So that's great and all, but what's the theme that you're trying to tell us from this whole story?
The theme here is that you can't let yourself be so submissive that you sink into the background. An elderly Ying looks back and sees that even as a child, she just wanted to be found.
Thanks for watching Crash Course Joy Luck Club, and we're out. Bye!
She was 4 years old during the Moon Festival.
Hey man,
Mom!
slow down.
Turn the TV down, please. Yes?
And she thinks she's lost forever. I use the same word.
You gotta start again.
Here's me trying to be stay-at-home mom.
What is that?
Cookies?
Whoa, Mom.
Nice.
Yes! Dang, you never.